one-to-one, how come referrals aren't coming in?
Most of the time, when I do a one-on-one with somebody, the first one-on-one, we don't even talk business.
Yep.
I don't, and if you try and talk business with me, I'll deflect it, and if you keep doing that, we won't have a second.
I love that.
I kind of believe that we need to see each other at least 5 or 6 times to really remember even. Like remember the point at the time that you would need it. Right? Say, I need someone, and then you just think of it.
Everybody's different, but yeah, I mean, I agree. There's people I've met several times, and by the fifth or sixth time, I'm usually remembering their name and what they do. And yeah, yes.
I have a question. When your schedule's so tight, like all of ours are, like how do you know that it's, like when do you, I mean, is it just a friend thing, or how do you attract the right people and to figure out who to actually schedule those with and when you're wasting your time? And
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that. I'm going to skip to the next one because you gave me a great segue. There's 3 ways that you can go about this. Actually, all 3 ways are vital, but the third one is how you go about doing that. So you bake it into that busy schedule. You find slivers of time when you're able to do that. And if your time is so precious, my wife practices law. She is sometimes whisked away on a day's notice to go appear in court for whatever reason. She fills in for friends. Sometimes she's in Georgetown at the Williamson County Courthouse all day long. She doesn't have really the control over her schedule that she would like. So she bakes it into, we have a small group that we belong to in our church. That's when she's doing her networking, because she wants to network with those kinds of people. We volunteer for Habitat for Humanity, and we get to meet people on a Saturday morning for just 4 hours while we're helping hang siding on a house. So you bake it into the things that you do. I know I just slipped out of my hand and I broke it. There we go. But it all starts with thinking connected first, right? So I'm going to go through these a little bit slower and give you guys some tactics that you could be using. I love that you guys are taking notes. I really love that and I appreciate that. But it starts with thinking connected and then developing the skill, like Scott was saying, doing the 1 push-up, but then tomorrow do 2. And then do 3 and develop those skills. I'm just looking around the room, I'm making eye contact with people who are phenomenal connectors, or phenomenal at acting connected all the time, right? But then baking it in so that you're living connected, regardless of where you are, what you're doing. Good Saturday at your farmer's market day, invite connectivity, because these are business people as well. And again, I go back to what I said earlier, they may never buy from me, but they may know a whole lot of people that do. And you had touched on something really important. What's your name, by the way?
Julianne.
Julianne, that was such a great thing that you said when you said, how do I really distill it down? I'm paraphrasing, but you're like, how do I make sure I'm in front of the most important people?
Yeah.
Right? Patricia and I were actually talking at the beginning. Sorry, I know you're busy, focused over there, writing the amazing, colorful notes. But we very quickly, within 5 minutes, she said, well, these are the people I get most of my business from. So, well, how do you pour gas on that? How do you stop wasting your time with people who are great people? And you should make friends with them and you should laugh with them. But make it an intention to develop, to invite connectivity with those people that you know they fall into that target market. That they're the ones that are going to either need your service or they're directly associated with those that are going to need it and they can refer you. Right? And this is such a hard, soft, squishy thing. People often confuse me as a technologist because I have glasses. And I spend all day on Facebook, right? In front of a computer. So clearly I know how to code a website and I know how to build a robot and I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I tell people there's software and there's hardware. And then there's where I live. And that's peopleware. I use Facebook and Twitter and Instagram to help people. I'm not using this. I'm not a marketer per se. I don't have any advertising background. I know how to create Facebook ads. I've been doing it for years. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars doing it. I learned the hard way only because that's what the clients are paying me to do. But my heart is in actually helping entrepreneurs, business owners. Scott asked me, what's your target market earlier? I said, small business owners that have no marketing budget because they're flailing. They're really good at what they do. They're great massage therapists. They can walk your dog. They can detail your car, but they can't build an audience. But they can if they learn the skills and learn how to do that. But it really comes down to they're busy, they're running their company. How do they get around those people and identifying exactly who those people are and then making an intention to continually not just build a relationship with them, but to continually maintain and nurture. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's get into thinking connected. Can you guys give me an example? I'll put this back on you so I can stop talking for a minute. Give me an example of what it means to think connected. Paul.
just constantly making relationships and building those, engaging with people who you may not even necessarily normally make connections with.
Yeah. I once heard this term in French, don't ask me to repeat it for you, but the basic translation is make fire of all wood. So, you know, when you're going out and networking, you might think this person is not somebody that would ever hire. But
What it helps me that keeping connected is that I'm always trying to figure out what can I help them. So like then I know. So then constantly I'm like, oh, you know what? I remember that person that can help you, and this person can help you with this, and that person can help you with this. And I like just trying to always think of ways that you can help out the other.
yeah,
That's
and
a way to keep connected.
that was great.
I heard a phrase a long time ago, curiosity killed the cat. The satisfaction brought him back.
Oh, nice.
And I'm curious about the people that, if I'm on a plane or wherever I am, and I'm getting my car washed or something, I'm just curious, I wonder what you do. So I ask them, what do you do?
Yeah.
And I make connections.
You're thinking through, this is like whatever all you guys are saying, that, you know, how do I connect? That's,
My kids always laugh at me because they're like, well, I'll be somewhere, it doesn't matter, I'll talk to the wall. And they're like, Mom, did you know that person? I'm like, no, honey, I didn't know that person. Well, what were you talking to him about? Why were you talking to him? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, we just started talking. They look nice. They look fun. You know, we'll be at Starbucks and I'll just talk to somebody if they pick up like the dried apple chips or whatever. Are those good? You know, and so you just start a conversation because you never know who you're going to meet or how that person can affect you.
You never know
You
who you're
never-
sitting next to.
No. Oh, this is true. I have a story about that too, but we'll say that for another story. But yeah, you never know who you're going to sit next to, but you also never know what that person is going to do for you or how they may fill your bucket at that moment in time, and that could then lead to something else.
yeah.
Like you did for that guy. He was having your marriage issues and all that. You
Yeah.
did that, that's it.
Yeah. You're talking about Wayne Dyer with the guy that was,
Yeah.
yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I helped him tremendously.
I, like you, my kids are always making fun of me, but, and in various, like, locations around the world, but I think the thing for me, how I connect easily is I actually am authentically interested in learning about that person.
Yeah.
And I always tell, like, part of my personal philosophy is that you can learn from anybody you meet.
Absolutely.
And so it makes it interesting and really easy for me to connect with anybody, all walks of life, socioeconomic levels.
Absolutely. I'm learning from you guys, you know, and it's true. You know, everybody can be your teacher. I don't remember who said that, but yeah, anybody you meet. It's just a little bit of curiosity, thinking first. I wonder what makes them tick. I wonder what brought them here. You know, I wonder. You know, we're all hurting. I don't have to know what's going on in your life to know that, you know, things are not perfect right now. You know, it's not perfect in anybody's life, and we can bond with that stuff just like Wayne Dyer and the book publisher did, right? And that's okay. We're gonna connect on a deep level, and those relationships go on for years and years and years, right? Can you guys think of somebody that you've known for 10 plus years that's probably referred your business, or might, or may have even hired you once you hung your shingle? You know, that happens. See them, yeah, when you were 12. I'm coming to you next. All right. So I actually have a little. I love this topic so much about thinking connected that I actually spend way too much time thinking about being connected. And what I tend to pull is information from various sources that I keep in a little. I have a doc on my computer. It's about 58 pages of just research and information I find. And one of my favorite parts of it is all these little skills and techniques. It could be a TED Talk. I could have read it in a book. And one of them I actually came up on my own, which is, are you attractive? And I don't mean, are you attractive? Like Cindy Crawford attractive. What I mean is, when I was in high school, I'll tell you a story. When I was in high school, I was a ghost. Meaning, I was not a part of any group, but I was in all of the groups. I kind of floated through them. I knew all the kids in school. They all knew me, but I was never, I was in the band, but I was never really in the band. And I performed in plays, and I was never really in any plays. And I hung out with the jocks, and went to a lot of the sporting events. I even was an assistant coach on the swim team. I didn't compete on the swim team, right? I was not part of any group, but I was a part of all the groups. And so, that being said, I personally did not think that I was all that attractive. I didn't have any girlfriends. I had lots of girlfriends. They were just not girlfriends. I was friends with everybody, right? That was, if you knew me, if you knew Joey, Joey as a kid Joey was friends with everybody. Joey never met a stranger, right? When I got older and the internet came about, I was 22 years old, and my parents I was living with my mom and dad, and they got this disc in the mail, and it said AOL on it. And I slipped it in the computer, and I plugged the phone line into the back of the computer, and my world was completely changed. And I was able to get online and start connecting with people. And it was amazing. It's actually exactly what I do today for all of my clients. I learned as a 22-year-old nothing trying to get a date. And I learned pretty quickly how to be attractive to members of the opposite sex, which again, same skill I use to be attractive for my clients, for the people that are looking for them. I, at the time, worked at Disneyland, and I would pop into chat rooms, Orange County chat room. Some of you guys that are a little older are shaking your heads, you understand. And I would simply type, I work at Disneyland. And if you remember back in those days, you had public chat rooms, and they had private, by the way, we still have public chat rooms, right? Facebook and Instagram. And we have private chat rooms, DMs and PMs and the other apps. And all of a sudden my computer just lit up like a Christmas tree. Pop, 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 pop. Oh, you work at Disneyland. You must be Prince Charming, right? You must be Prince Eric. Who do you play in the parade, right? This guy did not play in the parade. I worked graveyard custodial, which meant all the gross stuff that I'm not going to make a list for you. I had to clean that up so that at 8 in the morning when the park opened, it looked like it did back in 1955. And it was brand new and wonderful, and the music played, and everybody was happy. If you ever go to a Disney theme park and wonder why it looked like it just rained, it's because we pull out these massive hoses and we just flush everything that's not stuck to the ground down the drains. And when they open the doors, everything is soaking wet. And now you know why. Sun comes out, it dries the ground, everything's great. That was my job, right? It was not glamorous. Paid better than the guys in the parade, but I had to find a way to be attractive. And I did that very, very convincingly online. Of course, then I'd go to have the first date at the coffee shop. Not many of those became second dates, but I got a lot of friends out of it. That's what I mean by being attractive, right? Even if you're going to networking events, how I identified with what they were looking for was I found a thing to say that caught their interest. How many people here have kids that want to go to Disneyland or Disney World, right? Have that conversation, and all of a sudden somebody's drawn in. I want to go to Disneyland. I have a podcast today about going to Disney World and tips and tricks that you can use for going. So when I meet somebody, and they mentioned, somebody did a talk here the other day, I think it was yours, yeah. Denise's talk had a picture of the Magic Kingdom's Cinderella Castle on there, and I was like, oh yeah, this is good. We're talking good stuff here. She was making a point that had nothing to do with going to Disney World. I think it was about brands and about all that stuff, but Disney gets that. Disney knows that people like this kind of stuff, which is why they let me do my podcast without sending me an NDA or a cease and desist or whatever all those legal terms my wife knows. But anyway, so being attractive. Intrigue. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. Being intriguing is an interesting concept that was actually coined by a woman named Sam Horn. You can go find her TED Talk on YouTube. She gave it at TEDx Bethesda Women, and her whole business model is based on helping you become more intriguing. And she has, in the 20-minute talk or so, she gives you several tips on actually how to do that. And I thought it was brilliant. I want to get her on the other podcast I'm doing, which is about this talk, about connectivity, where I bring on entrepreneurs to talk about their connecting philosophy. I'd love to have Sam Horn come on. So if anybody here knows her, I'd love to have her come on and talk about this intriguing concept, because when you're at a networking event and somebody says, what do you do? Oh, I'm a chiropractor, or I'm a lawyer, I walk dogs for a living. You're like, that's not intriguing. She says to ask a question. Do you know anybody who owns a business and does marketing without a budget? And somebody says yes, you say, I help those people figure out how to maximize what little budget or no budget they have, right? If customer service, right? PR, creativity. We have one of the leading creativity experts in the room. So when she's at a network event, instead of saying, I lead workshops on creativity, she could say, you know anybody who struggles with tapping into the creative juices within themselves and want to bring that to the surface to take full advantage of that? And they go, yeah, I know lots of people like that. Great, I help those people do that. So beautiful. And that, all of a sudden, you're intriguing. And she even talks about the eyebrows. That's how you know if you've got somebody intrigued or not, right? You ask, somebody says, what do you do? I'm a chiropractor. All a chiropractor. What do you do? I help people live lives full of freedom from stress. Freedom from stress? I didn't know that. Eyebrows. They all listen go up, right? So it's a great TED Talk. I encourage you to go check it out. Last one is remarkable. Her name is Sam Horn, Horn, Samhorn, Sam Horn. She's amazing. And she's got, her website's just replete with amazing stuff. That's my $5 word for the day. I just used it before 11 o'clock. I think I'm going to pull plethora out later today, but I haven't quite decided yet. I'm glad you guys are amused. Remarkable is a term, most of you people here have probably heard of Seth Godin, prolific blogger. He used to do all the marketing for Yahoo before Google came along, and author, speaker, amazing guy. He wrote a book called Purple Cow. You drive around Texas, of course, you're going to see lots of cows if you just happen to be driving around hill country. And cows are just cows, right? And around here, they're kind of beautiful. You see longhorn, it might actually make you turn and look, but you're not really going to get to your destination and be like, hey, I saw a longhorn. It's central Texas. But if you saw a purple cow, you might pull out your phone and make a Facebook Live video about that. I mean, that's pretty remarkable, right? It's worth getting to the next place and going, oh my goodness, you're not going to believe what I saw. I saw a purple cow. So this goes back to how to think connected. Try to find ways that allow you to become intriguing and also find ways to become remarkable. And also, if you're meeting people who are remarkable and worth remarking about, find ways to remark about them. Help them also get leads and business and referrals, because seeing how other people do it, it's going to train and teach you how you can use those skills to also become somebody that they will go and they will remark. You're not going to believe this, Maria, that I met at this event. She is the most creative person in the world. She gave me a copy of her book. It's got 101 ways I can tap into my creative juices. She's just so incredible. I have to tell everybody about her. And so be remarkable. And if you struggle with that, ask your friends. Talk about it with somebody at a one-on-one. Hey, what do you do to become remarkable? Because I've been talking about you all week, right? And so it's good to do that. Ask other people. And I could tell you guys how to do this, but in all honesty, there's 20 or so of you in here, 30 of you. There's 20 different ways that you guys can be remarkable, be intriguing, and create an attractive profile. You could use the acronym AIR. I chose not to actually put a big emphasis on that. I was going to put a picture of clouds and say AIR, be attractive and intriguing and remarkable. But the reality is, just be you. And if you want to remember this, just think about going to an event and bringing AIR to that event, and that might help to remind you if you're struggling with not saying things like I'm a chiropractor or I do marketing. I went to a BNI recently. They had an open house, and I got invited to attend. There were about, 75 people in the room, and they made me put my name and my industry on my name tag. So I put marketing in quotes by design, because people go, oh, I see you're in marketing. I go, yes, I'm in marketing. And it was a great way for me to stand out from the other 70 people in the room who were trying to sell me their insurance products or whatever else they were trying to do. All right, so give me some examples of what it looks like to act connected.
Travel in packs.
You gave the great example earlier of how you identify a well-connected person in a room.
Yeah.
If you're in a large group of people and it's a mixer, a happy hour, find the guy or girl that has 7 or 8 people standing around them, and they're all laughing. They're holding their cocktail and they all lean back. You can picture open up like a flower. The person in the middle that's making them all laugh, they're a connector, right? Doesn't mean you have to be the life of the party. Obviously, I'm not always the life of the party. I'm usually the person standing in that circle and learning from the person that's this breath of fresh air. But yeah. look for the influence. Anybody else act connected?
Go to events.
Go to events. That's an action. That's a verb.
Smile and be engaging.
Smile, being engaging, make eye contact.
Always have something to share with somebody.
I love that.
I mean, maybe a book you read or something, again, finding that common interest.
Making a compliment sometimes, it helps you to get in.
Yeah. Oh, compliments are great, especially if they're genuine. I'm gonna go to Jeff and then come back.
Well, usually when I'm either one-on-one or sitting, in a group like that, my head is constantly running through my mental Rolodex and listening for, hey, I'd really like to know. Oh, let me connect you. I got a guy for that. Wait a minute, hold on.
That's an excellent way to act connected, is when you're at an event and you hear something, somebody needs something somebody else can, especially if that other person's in the room,
Yeah.
right? I have this idea of a BNI that actually doesn't have a singular location. They actually go to events as a group. That was where I coined the term networking posse. You actually take, instead of going with a networking buddy, you take 10 people and go to a networking event. And if somebody is saying something at the event, and I know Jeff can solve the problem, instead of saying, here's his contact info, I grab him by the hand and go, I gotta introduce you to this guy, he's amazing. That's one way to act connected, so that's excellent. Here, and then we're gonna go over, I know you had your hand up too. You gotta wave your hand around so I can see you. I apologize, I'm kind of focused on this side.
I say be authentic.
Absolutely. Well, if you're gonna be nothing else, be authentic. Yeah, that's awesome.
Mine was really a lot like Jeff's, but it seems to me if you have a lot of one-on-ones, you're acting connected, and then you are actually connected after several of those. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think more than anything, if you do a lot of one-on-ones, you need to be connected. You've got to immediately take action with something.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I sit down with somebody and we meet, one of my questions is always, who can I connect you with, or who do you need to be connected with? Well, I really need blah, blah, blah. Okay, I know somebody can do that. As soon as we're done with this, I'm going to send you an email connecting both of you together. Boom, and take action immediately. And that will build
You're
your
talking about
network.
Peter?
That's one of the reasons I call it relationship currency, because it's meant to be spent, not hoarded.
Yeah.
So spend your relationship currency and connect people to other people. Who do you want to meet? Who could I introduce you to?
It's just like regular economics. If it's not flowing, it stagnates. The economics guy is shaking his head, yeah. That's absolutely true though, he gets it.
So also like Facebook groups and things, like being the person that's always like, hey, I've got somebody for you. Because I have people reach out and say, you seem to know everybody.
Yeah.
Every time somebody asks for a referral for something, you seem to know somebody. And so it's like you can use social media for that too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're gonna talk like a whole third section of this about that. So, but you nailed it,
What I do is I do WhatsApp groups.
Uh-huh.
It's just, it gets overwhelming once you have like 200 people here, 50 here, 70 here. I think it's really overwhelming. But
There's a reason why WhatsApp is really exploding, because it's all about connecting.
Yeah, we have like a million groups.
Yeah, yeah, I think they do actually. Awesome. All right. There is an exercise coming up, but before we get to it, I want you guys to ponder a thought in your head, because I'm going to ask you to ask it to the person next to you. There's a woman, Helena Silverman, created a movement a couple of years back. Does anybody remember this movement? All about deeper connections, all about getting past small talk and actually, building a relationship with people. And I thought it was pretty brilliant. And she has a whole long list of really meaningful, deep questions that you can ask, but I really like this one. This one resonated with me because we all have this thing in our life that we haven't done yet. Thank you, Scott. And so he's got to catch a plane in Connecticut, so he's not leaving because I'm a terrible speaker. I don't take it personally. So what I want you guys to do, and I love that he skipped out right before the exercise. I'll get more time about that later. What I want you guys to do is stand up now that you've had a chance to read the question. Find yourself a buddy. And normally I would have people like move from one side of the room to the other just to really give some kinetics to the room, but it's kind of narrow in here. So look at the person next to you and form a group of 2 or 3. And I want you guys to take a minute and ask this question and be authentic, be genuine, answer the question.
Nice to meet you. Oh my gosh, this is a tough question. Oh, great. Oh my gosh, I don't know, I mean, like traveling comes to mind. As important enough, maybe seeing my grandchildren and what is I would like to make a difference. I would like to give back and make a difference and make a name for myself as a philanthropist, to achieve that success. Not necessarily to make a bunch of money, but to give back to the community, and maybe that would be my legacy. There we go. How about you? Yeah, for sure.
It's more around helping
with what I love doing. So I'm a data person, analytics guy, and so I want to be able to help people. One thing on there right now, help teams how do I do that? It gives me that fortune
That is hard. It takes days. So many ideas and like so many ways I learned about it. So many
and I think I have a little bit of what you talked about.
I do it yourself. Yeah. I think that's one thing that's really hard about. If you're working for somebody else and you have a deadline and do like the cheap stuff, but it's like, I did it. Sometimes at the end of the week, I'm like, you know, did I do anything? Yeah, like there's so much to take care of, and then you can tell.
What do I do on my own? Like you said, you're exhausted. You know you don't want to
Well, I actually have to do to get to drive somewhere and spend time.
I don't walk into this and like, it's just one of those like,
seriously, it interrupts your day, your whole day.
Now, it's a great thing that I do, which is I haven't done a lot, but I'll meet with you just talking about going to McGirr, and I won't reach back out to them.
Really what I'm not doing. And I'll put my head down, and I'll look up, and it's like, you know, I'm not connected with anybody. I don't know, like, good business connections, like, I'm happy to spoke to anybody.
We're living the same I just joined a co-working space, and it's good. Like for me, it's great because it gives me and so you consider everything, but I also think it's bad because it's like, I'm an introvert, so am I.
I've actually worked out here a little bit, just like the other day, there was like a breaking class or something, this guy worked for like an hour, and like everybody was talking about, it was like so distracting. Like I can't, because I am distracted anymore. Like I can't work at home because when I'm like at home, I'll be watching TV and I have to work. But then it's like, really, it's so like aggressive.
It's like I said, for me, it's like,
it's so important once I'm in a situation and there's a loud voice that can interrupt being and I'm actually like,
1, 2, 3, eyes on me.
That's the only thing I
Yeah, I know, right? One of the hardest things about connecting with people is
Some of the areas of
Andrea, save it for the one-on-one. I know, I don't have a whistle. I need to bring like an actual whistle. Maria knows because when we get together for an hour to talk, it's 2.5 hours later. We get the creative juices flowing and it's hard to stop. So and I love that. I used to do organize for the Network in Austin group years and years and years ago. And boy, just getting those people to networking, so the start of the meeting was like, I actually ended up, I hired a bagpiper one event. Just a crack, started up, and it worked. And then the next month I hired a guy, he was a rock star that lives locally, his buddy of mine, he came down with his bass guitar, it worked. So I didn't bring them today, so I save it for the one-on-one, okay?
Put a sound on your computer though.
I could have done that, yeah. I'm just afraid that my Facebook messages would be chiming in. Bling, bling, it just blings all day long. But my phone doesn't, because I'm a master of communication. Anyway, I love that you guys were able to do that. In fact, I didn't see anybody doing any of that while they were connecting. You guys weren't like, oh, let me Google flights to Italy and stuff like that, which is awesome. You guys were actually like having a deep, meaningful conversation. How many people had more than one thing? I know you had like 16. You were like, I got a list. Yeah. How many people shared something that a family member of theirs wants to do? And then also, you think about your kids have, these dreams and goals that they want to do before they die. We actually had, what's your name again?
Julie.
Julie comes over to the group and says, I don't really have anything. And then, a minute or two in it, you were like, oh wait, I want to go to Washington, D.C. before I die and see the cherry blossoms. I love that. I would love to go to Washington. I'd love to go to Washington and see the cherry blossoms. I've been to D.C. twice and not there during that time of year. I'd also love to go to Tokyo and see the cherry blossoms there as well, right? And so there's all these wonderful things. And just when you say something like that and somebody else nods or they say, yes, oh, how many people heard something else from somebody and thought, oh, I want that too. Oh, I'm going to add that to my list, right? And so I love when you're connecting with somebody, right? It doesn't even need to be anything that you've ever even thought of before. It's like all of a sudden, oh, yeah, that's fantastic, right?
So here's a thought or maybe a question, but for me this works is that, if I'm, let's say I'm reading an article or, watching something, I think, I really like to do that. For me to write it down just really makes it more like, well, do I or don't I? Helps. And I just like to write things down, in a notebook. Having a running list.
I go a step a little more than you. Besides writing it down, I figured out how to get there. So how much it's going to cost, which hotel I'm going to stay, which people I'm going to go visit, which place I'm going to do it. This way, once you start planning out, you might say, maybe not, maybe this is not what I really want to do it, or I just cannot afford it. But by going one extra step, things just start filling in, and then magically things happen.
It becomes more realistic.
I am totally, okay, I'm going to share this because it's just spot on with what you're saying, but I'm not a traveler. I mean, as far as being anywhere, really, like I'm in Texas, that's pretty much it. In the States between Florida and here, just driving to Florida, and then also California, just driving to California. But with my business, our company was expanding into Australia, and I thought, I've never been anywhere, and I have a fear of flying. Definitely flying over the ocean just makes me kind of really freak. And I thought, okay, I'm getting older. This is kind of ridiculous. I mean, I know that air travel is safe up until just recently, but no, didn't mean to bring that up. But anyway, I just told my husband, like literally one day, I said, I'm just going to go to Australia. And he was like, okay. He's like, if you have the money in your account, you just go. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go. And so I looked online and I literally booked the flight and I left 10 days later. But within the 10 days, I only had time really to tell a handful of people because I was so busy trying to figure out what plugs I needed or what to try and survive. And those 5 people that I told, they all knew someone that was in Australia, and they all connected me. And I was there for 10 days I was gone, but I stayed 8 nights there. And I didn't pay at all to stay because I stayed with people that other people connected with me with. And it was just, it's like things can happen that quickly. So with what you're saying, absolutely, I'm on board. So anyway, it was a great experience because I was totally by myself and, just really, I felt very disconnected to the U.S., which was good because it gave me a lot of downtime because they were sleeping while I was not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you were
so I had a lot of time to just be with myself and learn. So anyway.
Who can relate to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of us can. And I love that.
Yeah.
So share that story when you meet with people.
I
and then
completely
it's-
forgot about it, and it was recent, like a year and a half ago.
Plus, you did it the right way. You just ripped the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
I just,
You
yeah,
don't want to think about it too
Yeah.
much.
exactly.
All right, let's bring it back to why you guys came down here, and we're gonna start sliding into the whole cold calls, no cold calls, building your own network, all that stuff. What is the value of what we just did?
Finding connection with people around you.
We didn't talk about what we did.
It's not gonna be boring.
It's definitely not. I mean, how many people were laughing? I mean, we were laughing pretty good in front. You know, I heard a lot of you guys. The volume got pretty high in here really quick. You know, it's so enriching to spend time with somebody that is, you know, just giving you something that, you know, idea you hadn't had before, or taking the time to listen to you share.
I'm kind of curious about one thing, because we went really deep with our answers.
Awesome.
And I wondered if people were talking about, you know, actions, like things that they did, physical things like, oh, I went skydiving, versus how many people went to the core of who they are in the class. I was just curious.
Raise your hand if you went to the core. Good. See, I love that. And it's all different for everybody, right? About how willing you are to let yourself be vulnerable, because you just met all these people. Great, I'm in a room full of strangers, and I'm talking about, you know, deep personal stuff. I love it.
Sometimes you can talk straight to strangers, very deep personal stuff that you know.
I find some people I meet, man, we are deep 10 minutes in, and we're friends forever. I have a good friend of mine, I'm surprised I haven't mentioned his name yet. He's one of the most networked guys I know. His name's Brad Clausen. Several of you know who he is. Very first time I had a one-on-one with Brad, we were supposed to meet at a coffee shop that specialized in cupcakes. So I get there, he's already ordered my cupcake, and he says, we're not sitting inside, it's a beautiful day, let's go outside. And we sat in the sun, in a little tiny round table, and he pulls out his notebook, and he's showing you what he does, and how it transforms people's lives, and I'm completely sucked in and loving it. And then he asked me what I did, so I start telling him how I'm deeply passionate about connecting people, even though I was just doing social media management. I mean, this was 2010. And he pulled all this stuff from me. We got deep really fast. And, you know, one of my favorite people. So you never know, right, when you connect with people, who that next person's going to be. When I talk to people in my role as a marketer, oftentimes ROI comes up. As business people, you want to know when you're spending money, when you're spending resources like time against a particular effort. What's the ROI of connecting with people? This is an important question to ask all the time. What's the ROI of having one-on-ones with people who are not within that very specific target vertical that you're trying to spend time with? And I would argue, look at your contact list on your phone. What's the ROI of that contact list? What's the ROI of your address book, right? And the emails that you have that you can, I mean, who here does email marketing? Okay, just a handful of you guys. But, I mean, and that's all well and good. I got nothing against email marketing. I think it's great. However, when was the last time you sent an email? All it did was enrich the reader's life. All it did was pour value into the 20 seconds you're going to take to scan over and open it up. You know, I have a client that sends an email every year in November. They send a monthly newsletter. The #1 open rate email that they send every year is an email in November that just says thank you in the subject line. It skyrockets above all the others. All the others, it's a staffing company, so the tagline all the rest of the time is, HR policies in the new year, delete. You get an email from them that says thank you. Oh, what did they thank you before? And it's just another one of their monthly newsletters. And they get good, once people actually open them, they actually do get a response because they have great copywriter. But think about that. Think about, the ROI of the connections you've already made and the ROI of the connections that you have yet to come. And if you're getting a lot of value from the people that are already in that network, how do you pour gas on that and increase that? And it could be through email, it could be through social media, it could be through going to networking events. We can talk about all that kind of stuff right now and how to live hyper-connected. It's a little bit of a play on living connected because it's the 21st century. In case you didn't know, it's 2018, and we are now connected 24/7, 365, right? I podcast, and I know that 2 o'clock in the morning in Sydney, Australia, people are listening to my show, and then they're sending me a message on Twitter, thanking me for whatever I just happened, right? And so we are constantly connected. People in this room have probably, how many people have actually opened Twitter and tweeted since we got in here? None of you? Yeah, okay, so Trump's not in the room. But that doesn't mean that you haven't communicated in some other fashion, WhatsApp or some other way. I appreciate you guys giving me your full attention, actually, because I've been sticking my Twitter handle up there. But what's interesting in 2018 is that @ symbol in front of my name, you can also type that in on a Facebook search bar and find my profile. You could type that in on LinkedIn and pull me up and find me and connect with me. So, we live in an age now where connecting is already on supercharged, right? It's on turbo. And are you actually doing the things on an ongoing basis, living connected? It goes back to I don't have a whole lot of time. Well, I've sent tweets at a stoplight before. I'm not supposed to, but if I'm thinking of Jeff, or I'm thinking of Paul, I'm thinking of somebody that I want to connect with, and I can't forget, it's been too long, and I need to reach out to them. I'm going to send them a short little message and connect with them. I think I saw a hand over here. Yes.
Yeah, I was just hesitating because I have kind of just to stop you where you're at right now, with more of a 30,000-foot view question.
Sure.
So with all the connectivity, with all the different technologies that are available to constantly 365, 24/7 be connected, what are we really getting out of it right now versus how we lived and did business prior to the last, 15 years or whichever
Go back
technology?
2,000
What
years.
what are we getting out of it? Is it more money? Is it that we're doing more business more quickly? And I'm talking about specifically more on the professional side than all the other social, personal stuff. So
Yeah.
what do you think we get out of that?
Let's talk about that. The problem with all the technology is that we're still thinking 20th century when it comes to 21st century technology. And I'm going to answer your question. I love that you guys are giving me such great segues.
I didn't mean to. I'm
Lots
just kind of like, because we're so focused, and I'm sitting here going, what am I doing here, and what am I going to do with the information you're teaching, etc. And how do you parlay that into the professional life, and what does it really mean?
Let's talk about that. Exactly. So, businesses, I talked to Paul about this earlier. We have a mutual family member who, he's my nephew, by the way, if I haven't said that yet. Yeah, I did actually. He has a cousin, I have another nephew who has a business who just recently started promoting their business on Facebook. And he came to me and said, we're going to do this, we're going to turn this thing on, so I'm coming to you as the trusted advisor in my social network, in my personal network, to help me do this right from out the gate. And you've probably heard that organic posts on Facebook are getting 10%, and why should you go there, push a bunch of content out if nobody's going to see it? Well, he and I had that conversation early on, and he's only about 200, he started, I think, February. He's got about 200 people that like his Facebook page. He's consistently hitting the 75 to 150% in organic reach on his Facebook posts. But it's because he's intentional with what he's doing with this 21st technology to make sure that he's not just telling everyone, he's not putting signs out in people's yards, because he does a tree care business. So he doesn't trim your oak tree and then stick a sign in the yard that says like us on Facebook. He's actually just connecting with the homeowner one at a time. And they're telling their neighbors, personally, to go and like his business and do business with him, all that stuff. Instead of just begging people to like me on Facebook and follow me so I can continue to push my message out and get 10%, which is what the average is, he's getting considerably a multiplier higher than that. And the comments that he's getting from people that have just met him are amazing. He's really developing rapport and connecting with these people through these technologies. The answer to your question is, you got to stop thinking push, you got to stop thinking post, you got to stop thinking media, right? We call it social media for a reason. Most people, especially in business, treat it as just media. That's not social at all. You can't just go on there and advertise. I talked about this earlier about my clients sending me content. Just post an ad, tell them about our happy hour. What you want to do, and this is where the rubber meets the road, is don't worry about what you're putting out. Where you post to your wall on your Facebook page or your Twitter account or your Instagram is not as important as the comment section below. Mm-hmm. And what's even better is not even your comment section, but the comment section of all the people that you're trying to get the attention of. So when it comes back to developing the ability to invite connectivity, to really connect with people, how many of you feel great when you post something on social media and you get a bunch of comments, a bunch of likes? I got a 10-year-old, she's adorable. I post anything about her, everything blows up. Maria knows because she comments on everything. Paul's got a two-year-old son. 2-year-old son, his wife puts out pictures on Instagram, just blows up. And she feels great about it, so what's it make her do? It makes her do it again. And what's driving all that? Dopamine.
Yeah.
It's a drug. right? It's the same drug that makes us stay up late at night on Facebook, or it makes us watch shows on Netflix we probably shouldn't watch. It makes us, gamble. It makes us drink a lot of alcohol. It's this neuroreceptor. It's a hormone, but it lives inside your nervous system. It makes you feel good. It makes kids, teenagers today, delete a post because they didn't get enough likes or comments and post again, right? It makes them obsess over how do I get that good feeling, that hit, that next high.
They just play Fortnite.
They just play Fortnite. There you go.
If you want
Don't.
engagement on social media, just post about
With
Fortnite.
any
I
boy
did last
last
night at 11:30. I posted about Fortnite. I shared an article, and it all day my feed is just like,
Yeah.
and this and this, and this and this.
Any teenage boy is playing Fortnite. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
So,
great.
if you guys don't know what that is, Google it, check it out. Fortnite. It's it's
Season 4.
Yes.
If I
Today, I think yesterday,
Yeah.
day before,
Your
midnight.
topic, learning
Oh my
about
God.
connectivity. I was there, yesterday I was there at a Cedarville Women's event, and a lady asked a question regarding, she was an African-American lady. She said, when I do an event, suddenly it becomes a black-only event, the white people don't show up. And why is that? If I do an event, it's for all event, but when I do an event, it becomes only a black person event. So a lady answered that, and it's, I think, relates to making relationship and connectivity. She's like, how many times have you gone to others' event, or how many times you have made an effort to do that? It's not that because you're from African American descent that they are not coming. It's just you have to make an effort, make relationships. So I think we have to make relationships in life, like maybe connect through. When we say just, hey, I'm doing this, maybe people will not notice you, but if you go there and say, hello, I do this, let's meet up. So I guess.
I think diversity is critical, right? I want to get to know people from all walks of life because I'm going to learn from all of them, and I can do that very easily online, but I can also do it in person. But the answer to your question, when you're connecting with people using the digital age, right, the technology that we have today, stop worrying about what am I going to say, what am I going to tweet, what am I going to post, what's going on right now. Log into LinkedIn and look at all the people you're connected to and comment. Because they're all out there posting, going, nobody's reading anything, I post, LinkedIn doesn't work, what a waste of my time. Imagine if they saw, I think somebody else even mentioned it earlier, about how they'll go in and they comment on something, and like the 5th time the person's going, wow, this person really likes me, they're liking what I'm putting out. They're picking up what I'm putting down, this is pretty great. All of a sudden they're thinking, wow, now I know who I'm going to refer for real estate needs, right? Or whatever it is that you do, they're thinking about you, become top of mind. It's so easy to do. There's actually, it's funny I mentioned real estate, there's actually a term for this real estate world coined like 25 years ago before the internet, and it's called 1 in 10. And you basically pick up the phone and you call 10 people every day. How are you? Just checking in. You were on my heart, you were on my mind. I was just worried about you. Nowadays, realtors do 100 of them in the same period of time, but it's because they're getting on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and they're going out there and just hitting that little heart, or they're just going in there and making, and it's very genuine, they're being very authentic. You can't do this inauthentically because people will know, right? We can actually, it's funny, in real life, when I'm looking around at you guys, I can see your faces. Did you know that I can tell a facial gesture based on what you're thinking in the back of your head in 33/1 of a second? They've done tests. Don't quote me on this. I just read this somewhere in a journal. But what's so fascinating about that is online, your authenticity is that much more transparent. It's radically transparent. I can get online and I can know if somebody's actually just trying to sell something, or if they. I'll tell you how I know this. Because if you go online and you start liking everything I do, I'm gonna know exactly what you're liking and what you're not liking. I'm not even gonna know it consciously. I'm gonna kind of know your intent. I know people's intent online, and I think that all of you do too, sort of at an intuitive level. Test it out. You just never know. Like I said, there's an exception to every rule. But let's get through this. This guy, Dr. Hallowell, if you don't know who he is, check him out. He is like the entrepreneur's entrepreneur. I think he's been on Oprah and Dr. Oz and all the doctors. He was on all the Doctor Who's. This goes back to the whole thing about content. We're thinking content, we're thinking push, we're thinking what am I going to post today? How am I going to get people to buy my stuff? But we're not thinking about actually connecting with the people that we're actually, are you actually building an audience? Are you building a community of people who actually care about what you do and want to know what you're doing? So many people come to me and say, I want a blog, I want 1,000 Twitter followers. Great, well, be worthy of having 1,000 people follow you on Twitter. That's step number 1. be worthy of me subscribing to your blog because the value is there. You look at all these bloggers with thousands and thousands and millions of subscribers. It's because for 12 years now, they've been creating content that gives people a reason to click the share button, to go and subscribe and make sure that it shows up in their inbox and that they read the stuff and it creates value in their life. Are you doing that with the stuff that you're doing? Because that allows you to create massive connectivity, hyper connectivity on an ongoing basis. Again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Kind of goes without saying. Stop buying likes, stop buying followers, start building an audience. Guys, there's a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. And Gary, and I'll wrap up here, getting there. I recently heard Gary, if you don't know Gary Vaynerchuk, he does a lot of keynotes, he's very foul mouthed, but the guy's, 99% of the time he is nailing the bullseye right in the center. He's very brutal in his honesty about how poorly we actually connect with people in this day and age. In fact, I think you had a video with him in it yesterday. And what's fascinating in this, what he does literally, it's just crazy, is he pays guys to walk around with cameras and microphones all day long, and he has a thing called the Daily V, where he puts out this YouTube channel where you can literally see him working in his office, doing interviews with staff members and just walking around his office, talking sports, talking about the last night's game and did anybody win any bets and stuff. You wouldn't think it's all that interesting, but he has these nuggets of gold that all of a sudden he'll just blur things out. And one of the things he was doing a consultation for a large social networking site that's based in the sports world, and it's coming up, and the whole meeting he was having, the whole consult was there on his YouTube channel, and he's telling the guys, look, there's going to come a time where it's going to be very expensive to build an audience. It's almost free right now, but it's very soon going to end. So double, quadruple down is what I think he said, quadruple down on audience, and build that, connect with an audience of people and draw them to you now before it becomes very, very expensive and very difficult to be able to do that. All the social networks out there are working very hard to make sure that you as business people don't thrive in their space without having to pay for the luxury to do that. But there's still opportunities to be able to do that for free, so take advantage of that right now. Who loves to make cold calls? I love that. You love making cold calls. Okay. Can you explain what?
Explain why I like it?
Yeah.
I think that you never know what that opportunity on the other side is. So it's kind of an exciting little adventure to go on. It generates business. So yeah, I've never been afraid, and I do it old school. If it's a pretty day, I'm going to get dressed nicely, go knock on doors, find out who's the business owner or the property.
Yeah.
Or I also work the phones, and I create business that way. I recognize it's not the most efficient.
Have you
which is why-
measured the two to see which one gets better results?
As far as cold calling versus networking?
Phone versus walking in the door and meeting people.
Off the top of my head, I'd say it could be actually, I think it could be just equal.
Okay.
For the most part. I haven't,
So it all depends on whether it's a nice day.
well, as far as me getting out, like
Yeah,
say
yeah.
to, knock on doors old school and.
It's a nice day. It's a great reason to get out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and I think a lot of people are afraid of doing that.
Yeah.
And I mean, most sales people, even extroverts, don't like doing that. But for me, it's always been a great, like, all right,
And that's why I appreciate it's a good line.
She's probably got a great line. She's probably very good at it.
What? I'm sorry?
You must have a really good line or
With
a
what?
purpose. When you call, you have a good
I
good
think-
purpose.
I don't know about a purpose, but I do think that I've got the ability to quickly connect with the person
Yeah.
on the phone and engage them in a conversation to hear where they are and am I going to get more time with them or not, and to cut to the chase. So, and I never know. I never go with I don't have a script or anything like that. It's about feeling.
What I have learned is
something
it's about the
aligned.
music. It's not so much about the script. It's about how it's about how you come up. You get on, you build rapport quick.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's-
about that and it's not about making a sale at that moment. It's really about just keeping the door long enough to book the next appointment.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. It's a funnel.
Absolutely. I'm
This
not
is-
trying to
it's
sell
top of the
anyone.
funnel.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. In fact, I tell people about social media is the top of the funnel. Right? It's actually a kind of it loops you out and puts you back into the top. But same thing with making cold calls. It's the top. You're not trying to make the sale. You're trying to
I'm
establish
trying
whether.
to connect with that person and keep the door long enough to get to a second conversation.
You guys know what the key to sales is? Spending more time in front of qualified leads. That's all it is. But I have another question for you. Who loves to receive cold calls?
Because you can turn it around. That's what I always do.
Okay, so everybody, this is who you call.
No. I don't even answer them.
We say that again.
That's
Key to
true.
sales is what?
The key to sales is spending more time in front of qualified leads. Brian Tracy said that 30, 35 years ago. And if getting in front of qualified leads means picking up the phone and calling them. Yeah, I've never been a fan of cold calls. However, I don't have anything against them. I have a system whereby I don't ever actually talk to anybody who calls me for the purpose to. But if they want to sell me something, all they have to do is send me an email and say, hey, so Paul said we should get coffee. Okay, let's get coffee. I love to get coffee. I love to connect. And if that's all you're doing on your cold calls, then awesome. But I'll tell you what, I know most people, to a great degree, I mean, if we had 100 people in here, probably 2 would raise their hand and say, I don't mind getting cold calls. You know, and that's fine. I don't like when people come knocking on my house door, right? And I don't honestly spend a whole lot of time at my office anyway. I'm usually out having coffees or working from coffee shops. But who here wants to never make a cold call again? Okay, one. It's smattering, about 50% of you. I would, and even if you don't raise your hand, I can see it behind your eyes. Wouldn't it be great if, when it came time for you to need business, you had a ready-built network of people that you could say, like the example of my friend earlier who does the video business, you know, he got them all together and business was done. Now that they even know that he's back in business, he now has this group of 50 or so folks here just locally. I mean, he's got clients all over the country that when they come across somebody who says, who do you know makes great videos? Who do you know who can help us get a video on our website or get us on television for a television commercial? They're going to recommend him. I know lots of people who make business videos. He's the only guy I've ever recommended. And I know he gets a lot of business from me because he told me he has a whole part in his training about being a guy named Joey, right? So what you want to do is you want to try and identify those individuals who not only can use your service and you can meet with them, develop a connection and actually do business with them, but who do you know who's going to refer business to you? And how do you meet more of them? And what I like to say is that birds of a feather flock together. So if you go back and think of where did I get all the business I've ever had? And then ask the question, where did that come from? Who referred me that business? What are you doing for that individual? How are you putting value in their lives? Have you sent them a bag of Tiff Streets, right? Have you sent them a bouquet of flowers? Have you done something? Have you called them up lately just to say, you're on my heart and on my mind, and I just want to know that you're okay and that everything's okay in your world, and I'd love to get together for coffee, but I understand if you're too busy for that. We're all busy. So these are the things to think about, and once you've got that list of where, if you don't have any business, if you're just hanging your shingle today, I can tell you that in 2010, I went out and started a business, basically doing what I did to grow my other businesses, which was this guerrilla marketing. I'm not spending any money. I'm just going to build a network of people. And today, when I'm finding myself in a situation where I work myself out of a client all the time. My clients hire internal marketing managers because I make them that successful. Meaning I don't have a job anymore because they don't need me to do it. They've hired somebody else to do that, which is awesome. However, then I need to get new business. And it doesn't take me a whole lot of time to go out there and start connecting with those people that I knew, because I've made a list of those individuals that know me, love me, trust me, and want to refer business to me because they've identified that I bring value to the people they recommend. I lift them up. My own personal brand equity lifts them up when they recommend me because they know they can trust that I'm not going to let them go. I'm not going to drop the ball. You guys have been listening to me talk for a long time. I'm literally on my last slide. Second to last slide. This is a list of things I go through in order to establish this group of people and how I grow it, how I maintain it. I attend events and I meet people. You guys are at an event, meet the people that you're here with today. Connect and build rapport. How do you do that? Listen to them. Actually listen to them. Don't lie. Find out what they need, right? Invite them to coffee. Find out what they need. What do you need? What are you looking for? How can I help? Put it on them first and I love it when people know this philosophy and they're stepping over each other and say, no, you tell me what you need. No, you tell me what you need.
first.
There's this guy named Dan Forbes. He's a realtor in town. He's phenomenal at telling you what he needs. He puts it in his email signature. If by chance you happen to know anybody who is looking for help selling or buying a home, would you please give them my information? It's not that complicated. It's pretty simple. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Educate them about what you need. Maintain the relationship in a genuine way. What does that look like? If you've connected with them on LinkedIn or Facebook and they post something and it genuinely resonates with you, click the like button. Give it a little heart reaction, right? Put a little animated emoji in there. Send them a private message once in a while. Just say you're on my heart, my mind, genuinely, in a genuine way. And then wash, rinse, repeat. right? Keep that cycle going. And one of the things I haven't mentioned this whole time is how do you track and measure all this stuff? You know who's in your list, you know who's you're connected to on LinkedIn, and Facebook, and Instagram, and all these places. Make sure you maintain those relationships. Make sure you're measuring, where the value is coming from, who's sending that to you, who do they look like, where do they come from, what do they need, how are you putting value back in their life after they've given value to you, and then just keep repeating that. I am hosting an event tonight for the most connected people in town. So some of you are shaking your heads. I know you're already registered to go. If you didn't know about this, you know about it now. We have about 80 people registered, but I know for a fact there's probably another 50 people that have told me they're going that I know are not registered, and it's going to be off the hook. We're going to have a panel with 4 individuals. All 4 of them have built their own massive, when I say massive, you're not going to believe the number of people that these people have been able to grow into a community. 3 of them are local. One of them is flying in from St. Louis. She wrote a book called 100 Ways to Make 100 Friends in 100 Days. And I saw her in an interview, and they said, well, how hard is it to make 100 friends in 100 days? She goes, I've done it like 5 or 6 times now. Right?
Joey, can I say something? Not everybody can do that. A lot of people have very pleasant personality. You're one of them. You're like just people really absolutely. And then when you go to these events or you want to meet, sometimes you don't like everything about someone, and you want to be genuine, as you said.
As soon as my book comes out, there's a whole chapter on it.
Oh, really? What do you do? I mean, you do want to connect, but you don't want to be artificial about it, and that's
Still be artificial about it. There are people I just don't.
And then people think you're smart because you think a lot about yourself, and you're not. I think that's what happens. How do you, what do you feel about that?
I can't control how they feel about me. I try to make them laugh. And if they don't like me, surprisingly enough, there's a number of people in my life that just did not like me. And there's not a whole lot I can do about that, unfortunately. I'd love that for everybody to like me, but you're not going to connect with everybody. And actually, there's a lot of, I can tell you honestly, there's a lot of people I've met in 8 years of networking in Austin I have disconnected with. And I have people that I know will tell me they won't do business with me if I'm doing business with her. Not you specifically, I'm just using these things. You're wonderful. So you're just not going to connect with her, but make an effort and identify those that are the most viable and continue to grow your network and to connect with them.
Is it at 5:30 or is that 6?
It starts at 5:30. The panel starts at 6:30, goes to 7:30. And by 8:30, everybody's out of the building, or WeWork is going to start charging me for the air conditioning. I will be the only person with the microphone screaming at people. Get out! Not there. So that's it. That's my talk. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Take a look over here at this amazing piece of artwork that has been created while you've been sitting here. So all the notes from this, this is Patricia Selma, just awesome as always. Thank you all for coming. You are welcome to stay here all day if you want. You can work out in the co-working area. Internet stuff, is that fun? Yeah, absolutely. Patricia, would you be willing to give your contact information to anybody?
Absolutely.
Also, we love you here. You cannot stay in here because we're setting up for the next session. So please exit the room. Joey will be out there. We have a little green room out there. You want to talk to
Yeah, are you going to be around the festival?
No.
And we have our founder session coming up. So if you stay on.
I'll be around the next couple days to maybe. Yeah, nice to meet you too.
We'll get together.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.